Today we're going to set up Cursor, a popular AI coding copilot, as Houdini's external IDE and see how it works with VEX. I've really been liking Cursor, and I wanted to try it with VEX to see if it could give me the same sort of productivity boost it has in other places. I decided to do this with a pretty simple task, just creating animated Houdini patterns on a point cloud. Let's get started by installing Cursor and setting it up as the external text editor in Houdini. Cursor is an AI copilot, which is basically the head of Claude bolted onto a VS Code body. You can just use it as a regular code editor, or you can make it do AI stuff to stuff. Just download and install this from the website and open it up. Open the extensions window and install the VEX extension for VS Code. Now we give Cursor the gift of knowledge. Cursor can be given context in the form of things like code, Git repos, and documentation links. Adding docs context is like Neo learning Kung Fu in the Matrix. To add the VEX docs, navigate to File, Preferences, Cursor Settings, Features, and just add a new link to the VEX docs. Now it knows VEX reasonably well. If you don't see the chat window here, open that up with View, Open View, Chat. This is where we're going to interact if we want to generate code with prompts, and we'll do that in a second after we set some things up in Houdini. Over in Houdini, we want to set up Cursor as the default external text editor. To do that, just go to Edit, Preferences, Set External Text Editor. Choose the cursor binary, which should be in the corresponding location on your machine. Let's also add a hotkey for opening an external editor. Go to Edit, Hotkeys, and then search for Edit an External Editor, and just create a key command. I use Alt-R. Now we can set up this simple project. Just start with a point cloud, scattering on a grid, add a point wrangle, click on the expression field label and hit the Edit an External hotkey, or right-click over the expression field and select that menu item if you didn't set up the hotkey. This opens an editable VEX file in Cursor. Here's the initial prompt I used. Select the language model. Claude Sonnet 3.5 is recommended by a lot of people and has served me well, but usage is limited by free trial, and this is effectively what you pay for with a Cursor subscription. The first time it generates, you might have to hit accept just to see the changes it's making. I'm just going to accept the changes as they come. I was purposefully not paying a ton of attention to see what it was writing because I wanted to see what it could do on its own and where potential issues might arise. Here's what we got so far. Not bad for a first try. Let's prompt it to add a color ramp so we can apply a color gradient based on the point's position. You still need to manually add any spare parameters it creates to the wrangle. Here it creates a float ramp by default, but in this case we have to modify the ramp for it to actually be a color ramp UI. Finally, let's add an emission attribute which has the same sort of logic as the color gradient for rendering. After trying this out for a bit, here's some of my findings related to Cursor with VEX specifically. It's great for when you get stuck. Try to do stuff on your own first, and then pop open Cursor when you're really stuck and see if it can help. Removing a copy and paste round trip from an external application like ChatGPT. Having an AI code helper in line with the code you're writing is just more efficient. Prototyping, staying in the flow, when you don't feel like being held back by things like remembering syntax, math shit you forgot or never knew to begin with, tricky shit, or it's late and you describe yourself as not feeling it right now. There's some hangups as well. If you know VEX reasonably well, this might actually slow you down. I'm definitely going to turn to Cursor for VEX from time to time, but certainly not always. As with any AI, don't let it dictate the bounds of your creativity or steer you away from your vision. You're still the driver here. Don't settle for something just because it was as good as you could get with a copilot. Keep trying to get the exact result that you're after. In general, I find Cursor to be damn near a superpower, but when you're generating code or working with concepts you don't understand, use this as a learning opportunity. Don't be afraid to use the Ask feature. I started this project by asking Claude to explain Houdini patterns to me as if I were a 5-year-old. The time you save in coding with these copilots leaves a lot of extra time for learning. Cursor can explain entire blocks of code to you whether it generates them or not, and is definitely a feature worth using if you don't understand what it's doing. And finally, it goes without saying that if you're using this on a production codebase of any kind, you need to be very careful about what you're adding to your project. That's all for now, but I'll probably do another one of these Cursor tutorials with the Houdini Python API if there's enough interest in this video. Thanks for watching.